Hello and welcome to another episode of Seek and Find. My name is Adam Anto and I serve as the Director of Collegiate Outreach here at St. Teresa of Avila, and I hope you're all having a wonderful week. This week's question deals with God's grace. The question is, if someone states that God's grace is freely given to all, and then questions why going to church and living a good life should be practiced, what should we respond? Let's first talk about exactly what grace is. The church teaches that grace is God's very life within us. It's God's life working in our persons, in our relationships, in the work that we do. It's freely given. You can't earn grace, right? It's a free gift from God. Jesus is clear in the Gospel of John, "No one takes my life from me, but I lay it down freely, and I can take it up again." Well, why? Why does God desire to share his life with us? Why does God desire to lay his life down for us freely? Well, first of all, out of love, right? But also, Jesus makes it clear, I came that they may have life and have it abundantly. I came that they may have my joy and their joy may be complete. So that's kind of the nature of grace, our understanding of grace in our life. To the second question of, if it's freely given, why should I have to go to Mass? Why should I have to live a good life or do acts of service? The image that comes to my mind is, think for example if, I don't know, your great Aunt Betsy wrote you a check for $1 million. It's pretty exciting, and if that happened, that's really cool. But you receive the check in the mail, awesome. But in that instance, you don't have the $1 million. Now, it's a free gift given to you, but there are necessary steps that you have to do in response in order to fully reap the benefits of that gift. You have to endorse it, you have to sign it, you have to submit it to your bank in order to receive the money. In a similar way, God's life is freely given to us, poured out to us, especially in the death and resurrection of his Son. But we have to respond to that. A gift can be given, but it's not always received, right? So we have to receive that gift. We have to engage our relationship with God, which primarily happens via the sacraments and by serving one another. But see, the problem is that in our world today, parameters, guidelines, if you want to use commandments, can be seen as very restricting, very oppressive, right? There's a very popular figure in the church today. His name is Bishop Robert Barron. And if you've never seen any of his videos or read his books, I highly encourage it. But the image that he uses is of a baseball player. He said that, nobody's going to tell their young kid who wants to grow in their ability to be a baseball player to just hold the bat however they want and swing the bat however they want. And if they do those things, they're going to naturally get better. Well, no. There's understandings of what is the best way to hold a baseball bat in order to swing properly. There's understandings of mechanics of how to swing the baseball bat. And those mechanics and those guidelines aren't meant to restrict the player or oppress the player. They're set in place in order for them to become better, in order for them to fully enhance and engage the game that they're in. So these guidelines that Jesus lays before us, these avenues, these ways of receiving his grace, of going to Mass, of sustaining a prayer life, of serving one another, they're not oppressive or restrictive. It's really Jesus' way of saying this is the way that you will fully be able to receive my life. But the other part of it is, there's an interesting type of almost physics when it comes to Christianity. A lot of times people are like, well, if I have something, and I give it away, I have less of it. The amazing thing about God's life and God's grace is that as we receive it, we are called to share it. And when we share it, we receive it that much more. So Jesus lays out these commands, right? Go and baptize all nations, and whose sins you forgive are forgiven, and take bread and take wine. This is my body, this is my blood. Do this in memory of me. These aren't holy suggestions, these are commands. But they're commands for a purpose. These are the channels that God gives his life to us. But then, Jesus calls us to love our neighbor as ourselves. Why? Because that life that we receive from God, we are called to share. So yes, God's grace is freely given. But we are also called to respond to that. That's the nature of love. It doesn't make it any less free. It actually makes us more free. But it does call us to a higher responsibility. I hope this video was helpful. I hope you have a wonderful week, and God bless you.